Hi there, this is Neil Griffiths, children's author, former head teacher, and of course the inventor of Story Sacks. But much more importantly, I am the Puppet Company's #1 fan. And I'm here today to endorse and act as an ambassador for one of their brand new products. And it's just up my street because it's called Time for Stories. And Time for Stories are lovely mini sacks full of opportunities for storytelling of the best type. Now, we all know that if we enhance a story time with an interactive dimension, we're going to hold children's attention that much better and make the story time a moment they will never forget. And Puppet Company have put together lovely sacks full of little mini finger puppets to help you perform a story and hold the children's attention. Now, we have a whole catalogue full of gorgeous sacks, but today I'm going to share a few with you. So, it is time for story, and if you're sitting comfortably, then I will begin. So here we are, it's a time for stories. And here is our time for story little sack. And inside our sack, we've got today's story, which is If Only. It's the very first story I ever wrote. And of course, we've got our CD so that we can actually listen to the story again and again. But the bit we all, of course, love are the puppets. So here we go. The story of If Only. This story is about a little tiny caterpillar. And this caterpillar lived on the edge of the garden underneath the stinging nettles, because they love stinging nettles. But one day it was so sunny and so warm, the caterpillar felt brave enough to edge his little way out. And once in the sunshine, he could not believe his eyes. It was the most beautiful garden you have ever seen. But one flower caught his eye first, a beautiful red poppy. And right in the centre of that poppy was something buzzing. It was a little stripy white-tailed bumblebee, busy inside collecting pollen. Oh, thought the little caterpillar. If only I could be a bee, then I could buzz and I could be all stripy. The bee just smiled, and the caterpillar felt sad. So he moved on, and he moved on to the most beautiful iris at the edge of the pond. But something was hovering and glistening. It was a dragonfly with the most sparkly wings. Oh, if only I had sparkly wings. Why can't I have sparkly wings? And I wish I was a dragonfly. And the dragonfly smiled. But he then moved on because he could hear singing. La 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 la, me 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 me. Who was singing? He was singing from the top of a tall lupin. It was the grasshopper. And the grasshopper had the most beautiful voice. Oh, if only I had a beautiful voice, thought the little caterpillar. I can't even sing at all. But the grasshopper just smiled. But then he saw his favourite flower ever. But it was so tall. And he thought, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to the top of a gorgeous yellow, tall sunflower. He went higher and higher and higher. And When he got to the top, what a surprise! A gorgeous three-spot ladybird. Oh, look at your spots and look at your gorgeous crimson shell. If only I had a gorgeous crimson wing case like you. If only. But the ladybird just smiled. But then he was worn out. Well, you would be climbing to the top of a sunflower. So he made his way down, and there at the bottom was a flower pot with a gorgeous cobweb. It was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. What? And it had been made by the garden spider. Oh, why can't I make cobwebs? It's not fair. If only I could. But the spider crawled into the flower pot, smiling. Well, by this point, the poor old caterpillar was a bit worn out. Well, he would be, all this up and down and in and outing. So he decided to go to sleep. Now, what you possibly don't know is that a little caterpillar can make their own sleeping bag. At the end of their little tail, they can spin round and round and round, and out comes a little sewing thread. And they can make their own gorgeous sleeping bag cocoon. So he spun and spun and spun and spun and spun and spun, got inside the lovely sleeping bag and fell asleep for 14 days and 14 nights. But you imagine being stuck inside a sleeping bag for 14 days and 14 nights. There's not a lot of room. So the caterpillar thought, I need to get out. So he wriggled and he jiggled and he pushed and he shoved and he pushed and he shoved and he began to come out. But something felt funny. He changed. And when the sun began to warm him, he opened up the most beautiful wings. If only I'd known. He actually had become a beautiful peacock butterfly. And all the other creatures looked up and said, we knew. If only I had known, thought the caterpillar, who was now a gorgeous butterfly.